Yo guys, how's it going? Cobra 1 386 here, back for another LEGO Star Wars video. Today we're doing something a little different. What I'm doing is I'm showcasing the first set of a squadron of custom Phase 1 clone troopers, which I've hand painted myself. I'm currently part way through painting them, so not all the figures are completely finished. This is sort of an in progress video. But let's get on and have a look at the individual clones themselves. And here we have the first figure. With him I just decided to do sort of a almost like a claw design across his face. It looked like he'd been clawed across the face by a creature with the 3 red stripes across his helmet. All of the figures I painted the crest red on originally, and there's one figure in this set which I'll show you, which I've gone over the crest again in black to make it stand out a bit more. With a few of the figures like this one, I've done the range finders. I've painted the top piece of them red just so they match the colour scheme of the figures a bit more. And then just turning the figure at an angle here, you can see where I've followed the third line for the curve round the top of his helmet, just to give it a bit more of a smooth flow with the shape of the helmet itself. And then on the back, this is the only figure so far that I have painted the back of the torso on. I'm still working out what the best design is for the backs of them. I might do them all like this, or I might try and differentiate them a bit more, but I'm not entirely sure as of yet. Next up here we have the second trooper of the first kind of squadron. This one I wanted a like a kill count tally on his helmet and armour, but I did this one after I'd done another one which you'll see in a minute that I'd already done the tally system on, so I decided to do crosses on him. And I like to think that this one's sort of like the rocket trooper, so the crosses represent the number of vehicles that he has destroyed in combat. And turning him sideways here, you can get a better look at the crosses on the side of his helmet. And also for this one, I have done the stripe down the arm, something which I need to do on all the figures, just to unify them a bit more, make them look more like they're all sort of part of the same squadron. Going back to the front again, this is one of the figures which I have painted the legs for. With this one, I've just done solid shin sections and the red boots. And for this figure, I've also put the shoulder pad on his left arm. The next figure here is the one which I imagine to be sort of the long-range specialist of the group. And I did the stripes over the top of his helmet along with the red fin. Then for this figure, I highlighted underneath his visor in red and then down the middle of the chin. He has a red stripe on both arms, and for his legs I just did the solid shin pieces. And then because he is what I imagine to be the long range specialist, I got one of the Lego visors and just painted it red to match the scheme and to add to that sort of specialist feel for the figure. Next up here we have what is possibly my favourite figure out of the group. And this figure I have based as accurately as I can on the rocket troopers of the Phase 1 armour in the new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video game. The only difference so far is that the chest piece, I haven't done the white stripe through the middle of the chest armour yet. I haven't painted both chest pieces because my paint is such that you can't see like the outlining of the chest panels underneath it, so if I did that you wouldn't be able to see the difference between the two chest panels themselves. And as you can see, I've done the stripes and the markings on the helmet, the V in the middle, which I know isn't quite centralised. That's something I'm going to have to tweak to re-centralise it. And then I followed the design on the legs where they have the sort of triangle shape coming up the legs. I managed to find a set of clone legs which already had that design on, so I just painted on inside those and did the boots as well. And then if we come to the back side, I have copied the colour scheme as much as possible so far for the jetpacks as well. As I said, these are in progress figures, so they've still got some detailed work and some touching up to do on them. But I just thought I'd show you how they're looking so far. And if possible, get your guys' opinions on any adjustments or anything that I could make to the figures that might make them look a bit more realistic in a way. And this is the only figure out of all of them so far that I have painted the sides of the hands on to represent sort of the glove armour that the rocket troopers have in the game. Next up here we have the trooper which I mentioned earlier, who has the kill tally system on the side of his helmet. This figure I imagine to be the heavy trooper of the squadron. Later on I'll do a quick shot of some of the figures with extra accessories on to show how they'd look with everything on, but I've just removed them for now so it's easier to see the painting I've done on the figures. For him I thought a single line sort of at an angle down the helmet would look quite good along with the tallies, because I didn't want something over both sides, because then obviously you wouldn't have any way to put the tally on the helmet. For his legs, on his left leg I went for a full thigh and shin in red. Then I went for the red stripes on his other shin and a fully red boot. And then I've done some detail work on the chest piece and the stomach on the torso. And I've still yet to do the shoulder pads and or stripes down his arms. Here is the next figure who I've done. I did the red stripes down below his visor to the bottom of his helmet. It was only afterwards I'd done it that I realised it looked like he was sort of crying, and I decided to extend the lines onto his chest plate as well to continue the theme of the figure. And for him I did lines down the sides of the fin on top of his helmet. I gave him a rangefinder, and then I've done the stripe down his arm as well. And next up we have what is possibly the most simple of my figures so far. All I did was I did a thick stripe that goes over either side of the fin on his helmet. And this is the figure that I mentioned earlier, where I have painted his fin on his helmet black, just to make it stand out from that stripe a bit more. I've done some red detailing on the stomach section of the torso, and I've painted his red boots. And then on the side of the helmet, he's got a headlamp feature, which I've added some red to, again just to tie it in a bit better with the colour scheme. Now, as promised, there's got a few shots of figures with more advanced accessories, so I've given my rocket trooper a custom rocket launcher just to tie in with his heavy anti-vehicle weapons theme that I was having going on with. Then I've got a custom blaster pistol that I've added to the rocket trooper to match the one that he has in the game as closely as possible. Then for my heavy gunner I added a custom waist cape, a custom visor, and then I'm also going to add in a heavy machine gun, just like so, which I added afterwards so that you can see the waist cape on a bit better because it covers it up. Then I added a sniper rifle onto the specialist long range trooper to give him a more sniper-esque feel. And then I just gave the last few figures some standard blaster rifles. And so there we have it. This is a showcase of the first half of my custom Lego Star Wars Phase 1 Clone Battalion. The colour scheme is based roughly on the 42nd Battalion from the Star Wars universe, which if you look up you'll see is a red and white colour scheme similar to this. I don't know if any of the actual markings are accurate to any of the members of the battalion at all. But on that note, if you have any suggestions for any of the figures' names, please do leave them in the comment section below. This has been Cobra 1 386, and I will see you guys in the next Lego video.